starting a virtual assistant business is starting a business. And it doesn't matter that it's virtual. It doesn't matter that you're working from home. It doesn't matter that you're working from a cupboard. That's where I started. I had a space in a cupboard in a spare room. That was the home of JMJ for the first little while when I began business. But before I started in the cupboard, I had to have a plan. The term business plan fills people with dread and reams of paper and hours of planning and thinking and writing and just trying to get everything out of your head into paper. What order? But there's a simpler way to do that for your business. And this is what I did for JMJ, is that I sat down one weekend, one afternoon, and I started to write what I thought the business would be, what I wanted for the business. I thought about my why. I thought about the goals that I had. And I thought about how I saw the business in my head. Did I want to work with bits of clients? No. I had big goals, so I wanted big clients that met my criteria to help me achieve those goals. So I described my business. I wrote down what challenges I had, what roadblocks were stopping me from doing certain things. I listed all my goals. I've never been a vision board person, but some people that's their thing. Do that. If that helps you lay all this out, spend time doing it. It will be worth it in the end. I wrote down how I was going to achieve those goals that I set. What was going to stop me from getting where I wanted to be? What was going to stop me from buying our home? What was going to stop me from living a debt-free lifestyle? What was going to stop me from caring for my husband? All these things, it doesn't necessarily have to be business-based. It can be personal stuff too that will impact your business. What timings did I have? How was I going to do this? How many hours was I going to have available? Oh, I know, I'm home all the time. I'll just be switched on all the time. Easy. Big mistake. I didn't plan for that too well. Then I needed to determine through this thought process what it was I actually wanted to do. So when I first started, I made a big mistake and I brought my employee mindset in. That's the one that says yes to everything because you're paid to say yes. You're paid to do what the boss says when the boss tells you to do it. The client is not the boss. Took me a while to work that one out. That's another story. But the client's not the boss. You are. You are the boss. It's your business, your time, your rules. So you need to think about the niche that you're going to want to work in. Are you going to want to do everything possible in the 10 hours a week you have available? Or are you going to say, no, I'm only going to do social media for that 10 hours a week because I love social media and I don't like to do anything else? And great, that's your niche. That's where you go, social media. But I didn't do that too well. I knew the type of people that I wanted to work with. I was exposed to thought leaders very early on in the business. My first client was part of the Australian Thought Leader movement. So I was in on it learned how they spoke, how they wrote, how they did things. And I thought, this is the client I want to work with. So that was my niche, my target market. So then the next thing was, what resources did I need to get me to where I wanted to be? When I started my business, I started with PC because that's all I knew in the corporate world was PC. I soon learned that Thought Leader World didn't use PC, they used Apple. They talked Apple, they used Apple apps, everything Apple. That was a whole foreign language to me. So I had to learn how to use Apple. Okay, buy a laptop. I bought an Apple Mac. No one to teach me how to do it. At that time, I couldn't afford to put the money into Apple Care. So I just bought an Apple Mac and I would spend hours and hours teaching myself how to use it and how to use the app. Now, Apple Convert. Just everything Apple. I really dislike using PC. That's another story. We'll get onto tools a little down the track. So here's a few little exercises that you can do to help you work out what you want to do and where you want to go when developing your plan, your strategy, your vision board, whatever it is. So describe your business and provide an overview, the industry you're in, the current size, location, and your details. Nothing, for a long time, I had JMJ, EA for a day, like a giant business card and a photo frame on my desk. It's a reminder of why I was there. Little things like that help. They just, you forget, you can become so caught up in the moment of doing stuff for clients that you forget that you're a business owner and that you have a reason for doing what you're doing. So that little photo frame just sat there on the desk for me, and that was enough to keep me going. Then describe business challenges. What makes those things difficult for you? What alternatives do you have? What opportunities are available to you? And then put down your goals for yourself and for your business, and make sure that you're realistic about times and frames and what's going to bind you, what's going to stop you from doing what you want to do. So how will you achieve those goals? List your actions. Put down when you're going to complete the goal, because a goal is a definite. It is, I'm going to live debt free. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to, whatever that goal is. But you need to have little tiny ones, little milestones to get you to where you need to be. So doing this will help you with that, because you need to check off achieved. And then if something isn't achieved, what impact does that have on you achieving that goal? What do you need to work around in order to change that to help you get to where you need to be? And what's going to make it a success? So it's not just about focusing on the what if this doesn't happen and the what if that doesn't happen. You need to focus on what if this happens. Great, we move on to the next thing. So planning is all this sort of thinking too. Like knowing who your competition is, what personal development you need to take, what products and services you want to offer. It's no good saying, I'm going to be a graphic designer if you have no skills in that, and if you have no software, no apps, no knowledge of how to even do that. There's nothing to stop you from having that as a goal in 12 months' time. And then you put in little goals on what you need to achieve so you can be that graphic designer. Now, I'm not saying you can't be what you want to be. You can be anything you want to be. I'm a case in point for that. You can be anything you want to be, but build in the steps to help you get there. They'll keep you focused. They'll keep you on track. You won't lose focus as easily, and it's easy to lose focus. It's easy for other things to get in the way and derail you. You need to also, when you're planning your business, you need to think about insurances. What do you need to have? Data security insurance, cybersecurity insurance. What software are you going to run to protect client data? How are you going to manage passwords? I personally use 1Password to manage passwords for the team and with my clients, access to my clients' stuff. How are you going to price? How much do you want to make? Think about, we'll get into pricing in another video, so I won't go into it too much now. But what are you going to charge for your services? What is what you do worth? Knowing your own worth, again, this is another separate video, but knowing your own worth has nothing to do with dollars and cents. It has everything to do with your skill set. It has everything to do with the knowledge and experience you bring to your business. That's your worth. So if that's only worth $10 an hour, I'm throwing just hypotheticals around now, but if that's only worth $10 an hour, then that's what it's worth for you in your country. In Australia, it's $70 an hour, $80 an hour, depending on what you're doing as a general VA. Specialist VAs who do only videos or only websites or have different pricing structures. But as a general VA, as an online business manager, your self-worth will be a large portion of how you price your product, because you also need to think of the subscriptions that you have, how much it costs you for your internet and your power, your phone. All these things need to be taken into account. How much you pay subcontractors if they're working on client work. These all determine how much you will charge an hour. You need to think about things like a disaster. I was going to say discovery plan. A disaster plan. What happens if you get really sick for a while and you can't run the business? What happens if there's a flood, a fire, God forbid, something horrible, a family member, anything like that? What happens if you can't bring income into the home? What's going to be impacted? Who needs to do what? Who needs to be informed? How does the business keep running? That's a disaster recovery plan. You need a risk management plan. How are you going to handle things when the internet goes down? So what happens to mitigate that? Do you drive to a cafe? Never use free Wi-Fi. Ever, never use free Wi-Fi. Have yourself a portable internet. This is mine. Goes everywhere when I leave home. I use that when I'm in shops. Sometimes your phone hotspot isn't quite good enough, but that's connected to a telco, and I have internet wherever I go, and it's safe and it's secure. And I'm not working on stuff on public Wi-Fi where information could be captured. So that's a worthwhile investment as part of your risk management plan. Create an asset register, all the things that you have for the business, because as part of your business, you're going to need business insurance. check with your policy. Is your home office covered? Or check with your house and contents policy or your home insurance policy, whether your office and office equipment is covered on that policy. Chances are it isn't. So contact an insurer and get some quotes for some business insurance so that if anything happens, your equipment is covered under insurance. You need to think about that. Create a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Amazing insight it will give you as a benchmark for starting your business. Even if you're 2 years down the road in your business and you can see things changing or you want to change direction, do a SWOT analysis and you will be really surprised at what you dig up with that. I recently did one for J&J and I was really surprised to see that my marketing really sucked. I'm out there on social media every day. I've got good followers. I get good reach. But my marketing actually really sucks because I don't have the skills to do that. So I'm lucky. I have a marketing team nearby and I'm going to be talking to them about, but I would have just kept on with the status quo, thinking everything was fine when I could really be doing better. And that's what it's about. Not traveling the road well traveled. You forge your own path and destination when you do things. And then last but not least is a financial analysis. That's so important. You need to know how much it's going to cost you to set up or how much it's costing you to run your business now. What's it going to mean for you if you get more clients? How's the tax bracket going to change if you earn more money? These things can all be answered by your accountant. You must seek financial advice from an expert. I know what's worked for me, but I have a bookkeeper and I have an accountant. I can get all the reports I want from my Xero account and I can see cash flow, I can do P&Ls, I can do all sorts of things and get the information myself. But for you need to get financial and legal advice from the appropriate people because you're a business owner, you're setting up or you've set up a business. You need to make that you have all those legal and make sure that you have all those legal and financial checks and balances in